Um, Hi, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining us here in person, and also those of you who are joining us via streaming. My name is Mrinal Manohar. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CasperLabs. CasperLabs is a for-profit software development firm, also based in Switzerland, just like Wise. And we built the Casper network. Through this presentation, I'm going to talk first about the company CasperLabs in general, that's so all of you understand what we're bringing to the table in this partnership. And then I'm going to talk about NFTs, marketplaces, and what we're doing with WISeKey. I'm extremely excited about this, both in terms of what it means for us and our ability to bring world-class infrastructure to the space, but I think combined with the kind of security and product that WISeKey brings, I think we'll create something here that is completely new, novel in the market, and extremely exciting. And we'll take NFTs to a place where they haven't gone yet. So first off, let's talk about what we're trying to do. So I've been involved in the blockchain space for a long time. I first discovered it in 2010, became a seed investor in a lot of protocols, including Ethereum, Filecoin, and lots of foundational infrastructure in the space. And one thing that became really evident to me was that enterprise adoption of blockchain has been fairly minimal to date. I mean, there's been crazy adoption over the last decade, but if you think about an actual enterprise app, for example, Toyota using the blockchain to mark each one of its engines, that hasn't really happened. And there are 3 or 4 key reasons why it hasn't happened, and this is what we're looking to solve. And by solving these, I think we enable companies like WISeKey to bring enterprise-grade, secure offerings to the market. First of all, most blockchains have proprietary programming languages and tools. And companies are not going to change the way they build software or their workflow to embrace a new technology. Instead, technology needs to go where they are. And so we embrace open programming standards. Secondly, those of you who have tried to use blockchains as it currently stand, there's a lot of pricing unpredictability. While this might work for enthusiasts or use cases like that, if you're an actual business that needs to budget, this is very, very non-tenable. Third, the upgrade path is very, very unclear with current blockchains, both for the core infrastructure and for the end smart contracts. Now, our view is that history is not changeable in a blockchain, and we're very, very strict about that. I mean, the moment you get rid of the immutability of a blockchain, you're losing one of the core aspects of this underlying technology. That being said, we believe the future is unwritten and therefore should be changeable. And then finally, we make sure that we've created a product that is highly usable and has all the features that an end enterprise would need. And thus, we solve what's commonly referred to as the blockchain trilemma, where you want to marry performance, decentralization, and security. And unfortunately, what's kind of happened in the space is in order to go after scalability, people sacrifice security or decentralization. And this doesn't make sense for enterprise-grade applications. Today Carlos and our guest from Parrot, talked repeatedly about the need for real security. If you're dealing with things like drones, if you're dealing with extremely expensive pieces of art, things that could have either life or death or extreme value consequences, these are things that you cannot take lightly. And which is why, creating an enterprise-grade product is difficult. So what does this mean for NFTs? So let's just step back for a minute. At the risk of sounding pedantic, I'll just step back and talk about what NFTs really, really are. If you think about Bitcoin or Ether or the Casper token, these are all fungible tokens, meaning one Bitcoin is the same as any other Bitcoin. An NFT is a non-fungible token, meaning it represents something absolutely unique. So it could either be someone's identity, it could represent a patent, it could represent a device, but there's only one of that token. And on top of its ability to represent a single entity or object, you can also embed all sorts of intelligence on top of it. NFT 1.0 is how this started. It's kind of static. It's usually some sort of JPEG file. You've probably seen a bunch of these online. And there's no real built-in utility. You know, there's an image, there's the NFT, which is a certificate associated with it. Where we're going now is NFT 2.0, which is high utility products. These are usually digital representations of an actual physical good, or the certification with that physical good. So I'll give you one example of each. For example, assume in the example with the Hublot watch, the watch was actually sold along with the NFT. Now what the NFT acts as is a certificate of authenticity. And this has huge benefits because since it's immutable on a blockchain, you can always prove that this watch is the original, and you transfer the NFT with every sale. You could also do some really, really cool things with it. For example, if the original seller said, I want to take a 10% commission every time it's sold again, you could just embed that into the logic of the underlying NFT, which is really, really interesting. Or it could be a digital representation of a real object. Some of the examples we gave, or Carlos gave rather, were digital representations of pieces of art and high-value assets within the Vatican. So there's only one approved digital representation or digital twin. You know that it was signed by the entity that's signed it, which in this case would be the Vatican, assuming this happens. And now you have the one digital representation of a real object. And this is where we're going with 2.0. Another example of high utility, for example, could be patents. This is something we did with IBM and IPWE, where patents are their own NFTs. And now you can create a marketplace. They become tradable, and information on licensing, et cetera, is completely transparent. So where are we going to go after this? Probably NFT 3.0, where you have autonomous AI and intelligent objects. And this is something that you need a platform like WISeKey to actually do. So let me give you an example. Say your fridge was represented by an NFT, and your fridge does two things. One, there's also an NFT associated with the local power supply. And your fridge could actually negotiate with the local power supply saying, I'll only run my motor during off-peak times. And thereby, I'm going to help you load balance, but I expect a discount. And second, your fridge might say you're out of orange juice and actually order it for you. And the permission is given to a drone through some third-party service that also has an NFT. Associated to identify that drone. Now, all of this sounds crazy. It sounds like science fiction, perhaps. But think about it. If you actually have that safe place or that platform that Carlos talked about, where everything within that environment is trusted, this actually becomes a reality. I mean, if you told people, in the late 90s that you'd have all these apps on your cell phone and your entire life runs on your cell phone, and basically you have 10,000 times the processing power of the space mission that took us to the moon in your pocket, no one would believe you. But things happen when technology really grows. So what do we bring to the table as a partner to WISeKey? The NFTs will be highly secure alongside, the cybersecurity requirements required of such high-value transactions. Costs are sustainable. The underlying smart contracts will be upgradable. Like we said, the past is the past and is not changeable, but the future is unwritten. And finally, we'll always be more energy efficient. While maintaining extremely high security standards, we're actually probably the most energy efficient blockchain out there. But I think most important, over and above, these are product details. What we really bring to the table is we are long-term partners with WISeKey. We really appreciate the vision of the company, and we realize that in this space, building on blockchain is difficult because sometimes you don't, or almost all the time, you don't have a partner who's there with you from day one to make sure that the complex design decisions and technical decisions are made correctly. Done correctly, an NFT marketplace like this has unlimited potential. Done wrong, it could be harmful. And we're here to partner with WISeKey to make sure that we all do this correctly. So just want to end by saying extremely excited about this partnership and really look forward. I think the best is yet to come. Thanks for having us over, Carlos. And I'll just let a little video loop in the background, but it's self-explanatory.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, there is. Very good. So thank you very much, Mira, for your presentation. And
Thanks for having me.